Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to install DesignKit and how to use it to create your own wireframes and then turn them into final design mockups. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is to install DesignKit in your Figma. So all you have to do is to drag your file and drop it into drafts in your Figma app. So this is going to import the file, it's going to take a while, and then after it's imported, you click done and you can open up the file. Now let me give you a quick tour what you can find in DesignKit Figma file. So the first thing you will see is how to use DesignKit instructions. So here is a summary of everything I will tell you in this video tutorial, but you can come back here at any time and find some quick tips and shortcuts on how to add some of those sections into your file, into your mockup pages, how to change the layers, how to change the variants, and how to update the start guide. So this is the first page, how to, and as you can see there are more pages here. So the second page is samples. Here you'll find some sample designs I created, so you can look at them, you can see how they are created, and you can see they're all made out of sections, all made out of elements that you can find in DesignKit. So there are some sample personal page mockups, wireframes, sample product pages, portfolio, podcast, blog, and e-commerce pages. Then the next page is style guide. So this is where you can find all those basic elements like color styles, text styles, brand assets, buttons, form input fields, and other UI elements like tables, accordion tabs, menus, and other. Next we have modules. Here you can find all the basic elements that the main sections are made of, like images, placeholder content, titles, features, some content columns, blog posts, and many others. So you can use them to even create your own sections. Now, next let's see WordPress blocks. This is where you can find all the common WordPress block elements that can be used in an editor, like headings, paragraphs, columns, media, gallery, and cover blocks. And you can use them to design your own page mockups that are made of those blocks. You can also style them so developers know how those blocks should be styled and designed in the final WordPress theme. Now let's see sections. So here we can find all the main page sections that you can use to build your own wireframes and page mockups. And those page sections are categorized by the type. So here you can find headers and footers. Here we have some landing page sections that can be used to build home pages, sales pages, and any other custom pages. Then we have more content sections like blog posts, podcast episodes, and FAQs. Here you can find some forms like contact forms, login forms, registration forms. You can use, modify, and customize to your own needs. Then finally we have e-commerce sections like product archive pages, single product pages, carts, and even checkout. And the last page that you can find in this file is mockups. This is where you can start creating your own wireframes and pages that are just blank templates, placeholder templates ready for you to start placing here the sections. I will show you in a moment how all of that works. Just all you need to know at this point is those are empty pages with a grid. So when you press Ctrl G, you can turn off the grid and you can see this is a 12 columns grid layout, and a mobile mockup has a 3-column grid layout. The final page in the file is trash. This is where I usually put all of those unused mockups, unused ideas, but I don't want to delete them completely. Even though you always have access to your previous tabs in Figma by looking to version history, it's still nice to have it. Like when there are some mockups that you didn't use, put them you can copy and put them in here in trash, and you can always have access to them at any point while you are working on new concepts. Alright, so now let me show you how to start putting together your first page mockup, page wireframe. So I'm going to my mockups page. This is where I have my blank template ready for me. Now I can go to assets in the left hand sidebar, and here you can see all the sections, all the style guide elements that you can use to build your pages. So I'm going to choose the header first, so I can click here and see all different header options. So I'm going to choose the header left in the beginning, so I can drag it and drop right in here, and you can see my header is right here. Now you can choose another section. Let's say I'm going to choose content, this content on the side with image on the other side, and this content with the center image. You don't have to worry about the orientation because you can change that later using variations. So I'm going to choose this content on the side and image on the right side. I'm going to drag it and drop right here on the lower side of this first element. So when I release the button on my mouse, another element will drop right after the first one. And you can see the page extends automatically when you add more sections. So I can add some features sections here as well. Now let me add some maybe call to action here and some testimonials slider, and we'll end that with the footer. So I'm going to choose this footer. All right, so that's how easy it was to put together your first page wireframe just by drag and dropping all those sections here. Now let me show you how to work with those sections here on the page. So the first thing, you can go back to layers, and you can see you have all of your sections as separate components. And now you can click on any of those sections and use arrows to change the order. So you can move up and down. You want to change. You can also change the style of the variants of the section. So when you click on a section, you can see here in the right hand sidebar, some of the sections have some variations. So like the features one, you can change the number of columns from 2 to 3 small with a small icon, or 3 large with a larger image, or you can change to 4 columns, so that gives you 2 rows of 4 columns. Same for like this content section, you can change layout from right to left. So if you duplicate this content section and you want to change now orientation, you can just change this one to right, and now you have like left right layout. Now if you want to make some more advanced changes to your sections, let's say I want to remove the second row of items. So first you need to unlock this section from being a component. So you can see it's in this purple color because it's a component. So when you press Command Option B, you will release that from being a part of a component. You can also right click on a section and click Detach Instance, and that will detach that instance from the component, from the master component. So now I can fully edit this section here. So I'm going to double click here. This is my grid. Double click again. This is my columns row, and I can, by pressing delete, I can delete that one, row of columns. If you want to add, you can duplicate that columns layer, and you can add as many rows as you need. And as you can see, all the layers are using auto layout in Figma, so that's super easy to modify spacing and change the order. So let's say I want to change the spacing between those features. All you have to do is click here on the layer, and now in auto layout settings you can change the 60 pixels spacing between items. You can change it to, let's say, 20 pixels, or you can expand it to more. So that depends on how you want to lay this out. You can also change orientation, like here's the horizontal order, and you can change that to vertical direction. So let's say I'm going to create a mobile version of this section in my future steps, you can just click here on this section here on the columns and change the direction to vertical. And now all of your features are in a vertical direction automatically. And it all works the same way on different sections. Like let's say I want to change the spacing of this big section here. And so I can click here on the layer, and here in auto layout, if you see this new auto layout version available message, is because Figma has recently updated auto layout feature. So you can just click update button, it won't break anything, and it will change those settings to the new version. So now, as you can see, I have some options here. You want to change the spacing, the top and bottom spacing here at the top. You can click this icon here, and now you can see there's 160 pixels top and 160 pixels at the bottom. I can change that to, let's say I'm going to change it to 120 and 120 here, and that will reduce the spacing, the vertical spacing in that section. You can also change the spacing here on the left and right, but right now it's it matches this 145 pixels is the spacing from the margin of the page to the content area. Even like, let's say, make this full width page for some reason, you can change it to 0 here and here, and now the whole content in the side section will expand from side to side. Now, as you can see, in some of those sections there are placeholder content instead of real text. If you want to change that and bring the real text instead of having those lines in place, you can just go and double click on the text, make sure you have selected the frame, the layer you want to change, and you will see here in the options that some of them have placeholder check button. So you can uncheck this one and it will bring the real text in here. And you can do the same for, let's say, for our features. You want to bring the real text in the feature. I selected my feature layer and check text placeholder. Now let me show you how easy it is to change some colors in the sections. So I'm going to turn off the grid for now, and let's say I want to make this call to action more prominent, so it's actually contrasting in the side. So you can click on the section here, in the right hand sidebar you can choose the fill color and change it to any color you want. So I'm going to change that to, let's say, black, and as you can see the whole section is black now. And now we can change the color inside, and I'm going to change the text to, I'm using my color from my color palette, the predefined colors. So I'm going to use white here, and the heading color white as well. And that's all you need to do to change the colors here. If you want to change the button color, you can also change the selections here to white. Now you can see you need to change the text color, so I can change that to black. And this is what you can do for every section. Let's say I want to change the footer to make this light gray. You can quickly change that as well. And my hero section, I can change that to light gray. And now let me show you how to work with some of the WordPress blocks sections. So I can create now a page template using just the WordPress blocks. And I'm going to delete this mobile mockup from here, and so I can duplicate my homepage layout, and I'm going to remove some of those sections from here. So I will leave just the header, footer, and my page title. And now you can go back to WordPress blocks page, and I'm going to copy this whole entry content element. And I can go back to mockups and paste it here. So that could be my page where I have my page title here. I can reduce the spacing so it looks more like page title. And here I can use any blocks and put together a page that could be easily recreated using WordPress Gutenberg. So I can remove some of those sections from here, but these are like default sections that every page, every WordPress site needs to have. And when you go to assets, you can go to your WordPress blocks components. If you need to add any of those elements, same like with the sections, you can just drag it and drop it on the page and it will add the component inside. And you can see the component already has some spacing top and bottom, so it will fit anywhere. And you can, using arrows, you can move it around. You can also drag it and drop it wherever you need it to. There are also some other options here, like this cover element has layout, this center, full width. And when you click the full width, you also need to center it in the middle. So I would change this one to the middle. Now you can also change it to wide. So it's always in the middle of the page. And you can also resize it, change the size of it, and it will match the page. If you want to make this layout full width, you can also click here on the entry content element and change the spacing from 335 to 145, same like it was on our sections, right and left. And now you can see it matches our content area perfectly. Now let's say you have finished your wireframes and they are approved and you're ready to move and create some page mockups, some final page design mockups. So what I usually do is I go back to my projects and I'll duplicate that file first, and I will call the duplicated file wireframes, and the new one is going to be my mockups. So that way you can always save your wireframes, and just in case you need to go back to them, and whatever you do in your mockups, when you start changing your style guide, typography, colors, it won't affect the wireframes, the original wireframes you created. So now you can open up the new file, DesignKit with mockups, and now you can start editing your style guide. So the style guide is based on the color styles and text styles. So everything you change here will affect globally all the sections, all the modules, all the page mockups you created. So let's say I'm going to change the primary color. So right now my primary color is blue. So if you want to change that, you need to click by holding command, you need to select that blue layer, and now you can go here into primary default in the right hand sidebar, click edit, and in the properties you can change the color from blue to any other color you want. So let's say I'm going to make that green, so you can see the difference in the mockup. Now if you go back to your mockups, you will see that all the buttons that had primary color assigned now are green. And in the sections, you will see that all the sections, wherever there was a primary color assigned, now you will see green everywhere. So it's that simple. You don't have to go back and edit section by section. It's all automatically updated. Now let's say I'm going to, works same with the neutral colors. So you want to change the black to something, let's say it's going to be more like so there's a little purple shade in here, so you can change your black to that one, and I will change this color as well so you can see the difference and make it a little lighter. Now if you go back to your mockups, you will see that everywhere that the black color was used, and you can check that here by seeing what colors when you select the layer, and here in the right hand sidebar you can see what color is used. So that was the default color, and you can see that it's all changed now to our new color scheme. Alright, now let's change some typography as well. And also, as you may notice, all those colors are used here in a style guide. So as I change my black to purple, dark purple, my style guide has changed as well. So you can see this dark purple here. So all of your style guide even matches the new colors. Now I will show you how to change the typography style guide. So these are all of my default styles created, that are already set up in DesignKit. And you want to change this H1 style, you can, by holding command, you can select the text, and now you can see the desktop H1 is assigned to this text. You can click here, edit style icon, and I can change this font to, let's say I'm going to change this to Merriweather so you can see a difference. So now this is a beautiful serif font, and you can change the font size, you can change the line height, and you can see when you change that, the style guide automatically resizes, so you don't have to manually adjust that. So I'm going to make some changes here, and I'll make some changes to H2 as well. I will change that one to Merriweather, and I will give it some more line height so it looks better. And now when I go to mockups, you can see that all the fonts I updated have changed to my new font, Merriweather. And you can also see that in sections, so you can, so all the sections have updated as well. Now, if you want to quickly change all the text styles, so you don't have to do this one by one, you can use a plugin called Batch Styler. So this will help you to select multiple text styles at once, and you can change the font and click Update Styles, which will quickly change the font for all those text styles. Once you are done with your changes to the style guide, all you have to do is go back here and update all of that information, both the font sizes, line height, letter spacing, as well as color hex codes. Those don't automatically update, you have to go back and edit them. Next, we have some brand assets, so that your logo is also saved as a component. You can replace that image inside the logo default, and that will replace the logo in all the headers, whatever that component is used. Then we have some buttons. So buttons work the same way. Those are the master components. So if you make some changes to the first element, it will affect other elements as well. So let's say I want to change the spacing of the button here. So you can click on the primary large, and I'm going here to auto layout and change this alignment. Let's say I'm going to make this button much bigger. So I'll change it to 35 at the top, 35 from the bottom. You can see the button expanded here, and I will change this spacing as well. I'll make this even 50 and 50. And now we can see all those buttons have automatically updated, changed, even my secondary buttons. Of course, those are way too big, so they expanded here. But when you go to mockups, you also see that my primary buttons have changed here as well. So, and those layouts are using auto layout, so they automatically resize to match. So whatever the size of your button is, it will always match here. Now let's see the forms input field elements. So you can also edit and change them. You can change the font, you can change the spacing, and that will automatically update across all of those sections and mockups. Alright, I think that's all you need to know at this point, and you can play around in DesignKit, start using those components, start using those sections, and even create your own variations and see how it all works. And let me know if you have any more questions. You can always email me and I'll be happy to help.